Hello and welcome to Big Picture. I am Vishal Dahiya and today we will talk about Common Entrance Test for Higher Education. Once approved by the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, the National Testing Agency, that is NTA, is all set to conduct a common admission test for 15 central universities of the country for the next academic session. Till now, the Central University Common Entrance Test, that is CUCET, was conducted by the Central University of Rajasthan. Now, the NTA is also said to be in talks with other central universities to join this common test. According to the draft National Education Policy, which was put in public domain quite a long while ago, in the long run, the NTA will institute processes which would ease admissions into the higher education programs, and tests will then be offered in all mediums of instruction. So today we will talk about how will this new system work, how can it be expanded further, and what will be the benefits of this particular system. For this, we joined by a distinguished panel of guests in the studio, as well as on our Skype and OBN as well. Let me first introduce the guest to you, beginning with Professor M. Jagadesh Kumar. Is the Vice Chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru University and also the member of National Testing Agency, which will have this responsibility from here onwards. We also have with us Mr. Rajendra Harshe, the former Vice Chancellor of University of Allahabad, and we are also joined by Professor Saroj Sharma, the former member of NCTE, and we also have with us Mr. Arun K. Pujari, the chairman of Steering Committee of Central University's Common Entrance Examination. So let me begin with you, Professor Kumar, because you're also the member of NTA. Let's first try and understand why the NTA is given this responsibility, one, and two, how will it work?
NTA, as you know, is a national testing agency. It is a premier organization to conduct entrance tests so that the candidates who have the desirable qualifications will be admitted in the universities. Because the quality of the students that you admit in the universities will impact the quality of education in the universities. Now, I am glad to inform you that JNU is one of the first central universities which has adopted the NTA computer-based test. We conducted it last year, and next year also we are going to conduct. Now, when we talk about these entrance exams, these are very high-stake exams because it is going to decide somebody's future. When we want to see how good is NTA conducted computer-based test as compared to the paper-administered tests, we need to look at certain psychometric criteria. For example, the reliability of the test, and also the discriminatory power, how well the exam can discriminate one candidate from the other. Now, that is another very, very important criteria.
Okay.
The third most important thing is the validity and the quality of the normative data that you get from these assessment tests. Now, on all these counts, the computer-based test scores very high. You know, we moved from paper-based test to computer-based test, and in future we have the opportunity to move to computer-based adaptive tests. Now, when we moved from paper-based test to computer-based test, it was not a very big step at all, because in the paper-based test itself, we began with subjective-based answer script, and that has a lot of disadvantages in terms of the variability of assessment by the teachers. But on the paper-based test itself, we moved from subjective-based answer scripts to multiple choice tests. So that is where the reliability has increased, because the variability associated with the examiner is diminished there. But however, the reliability is still a question there, because in OMR based exams, optical mark recording exams, if the pencil bubble is not put properly, then the answer may not be recorded properly. Therefore, reliability is still a problem. But in a computer based test, reliability is very, very high. Okay. And as opposed to the subject based test, when you use the multiple choice questions, the ability to distinguish one candidate from the other increases.
Okay.
And the third most important advantage of the computer based test is the ability to collect the assessment data. For example, the response time of the candidates, what is the reaction time? and what is the response time that the candidate takes to answer the questions. So if you collect this data, you can actually analyze that and then design the question papers appropriately.
Okay.
So there are a lot of advantages of this CBT, and that is what NTA has adopted. But there is great opportunity for NTA as it grows as an organization to even move from computer based testing methods to computer based adaptive tests, where the question difficulty, the difficulty level of the questions can be chosen using certain algorithms which work in the background, and depending on how the candidate is answering the questions. Suppose the candidate is unable to answer a difficult question, the algorithm can pop up a slightly easier question, or if the candidate is answering the easier questions easily, then the algorithm can pop up a harder question.
The difficulty level will
so the adaptability of the exam also can be controlled using the computer based test. So NTA is looking at all these aspects, and I am sure it will become one of the best organizations in the world in terms of the number of candidates that it will handle. Currently we have ETS. Right, ETS is one of the organizations which conducts the largest number of exams, but I see a great potential for NTA to grow as one of the best organizations in the world in terms of administering the tests.
Okay, we'll come to other aspects as well, and I'll bring in Mr. Harshay also, but let me first go to Mr. Pujari. Mr. Pujari, it was the Central University's Common Entrance Examination. It was CUCET which was being conducted by you guys, but then now it is being handed over to the NTA. One question which I have is, why are you letting that happen? What are the benefits there?
No, I can tell you that first, that I am not aware that it is handed over yet. What we are doing is that we are talking to NTA and trying to collaborate with NTA and CUSET together to conduct this exam.
Okay.
So CUSET still exists for certain parts, and in certain responsibilities are given to NTA. There is the understanding that we are talking about.
Okay.
Now let me come back to first, let's understand about CUCET and then we talk about that. CUCET is conducting common entrance examination for 15 universities for 595 programs of studies, and they are being conducted in 116 different papers in 6 sittings, and number of people they write exam is around 2 lakh in 112 centers in the country.
Okay.
We have MCQ based question papers and we have an OMR based question paper processing. Now our system is such that the bubble which is incomplete or complete, that is taken care of because the candidate takes one copy of the exam paper with him and we give him a chance to respond to that in 7 days, so that in case he has marked it correctly and we have not understood it correctly, he has a chance to correct it there. But all these things are done, but still it is a paper based exam. So there is enough manual work in the sense that conducting the exam at 112 centers all over the country, carrying back all those OMR sheets to one center, scanning it. After scanning it, we make sure that all the sheets are coming here. Then we double evaluate it, and then we make the merit list. Now the NTA based, computer based proctor exam has an advantage that in this part we don't have to have any paper. It is a computer based exam and the answers directly gets communicated to our center, where we will be evaluating.
Okay.
So now the place where we are looking forward to a collaboration with NTA with CUCET is that CUCET is going to set the question paper, MCQ based question paper, and hands it over to MTA. NTA then tries to conduct the exam, and after the exams are conducted, all the things are again come back to CUCET headquarters, and the merit list is either prepared here or NTA. A joint advisory committee is to set up to see that we will be working on that.
Okay.
So we are at the stage when we are talking to NTA and trying to see that we will have a joint advisory committee so that all the intellectual part, preparatory part of the question paper setting is done at the CUCET of 15 Central University together, and the conduct of actual exam, that computer based proctor exam, That is done by NTA.
Okay.
And maybe after that, then other part, it doesn't matter who takes care because the merit list is prepared, it is automatic.
Okay.
Then the
Okay.
admission
Let me bring in
so
Mr.
that is
Pujari.
not very important.
Let me bring in Professor Jagadesh here on this aspect. Professor Jagadesh, is this the way things are going to work around, or is this a work in progress as well as Mr. Pujari is pointing out that it will be a collaboration between CUCET and NTA because the technical expertise, the technology which you're talking about, the important aspect, that will be utilized.
You see, NTA responsibility is to administer the examination. They in turn will take help from other vendors who will provide the computers and other networking facilities. The university role will be to set the question papers and hand over to them. So this is going to be the collaboration.
Okay. Right. So obviously it will be the university's call to go ahead and take a call as to what kind of questions they want to, or what kind of aspect they want to bring in for different particular courses. Let me bring in Mr. Harsh here. Mr. Harsh, how do you look at this initiative? Using technology as well, and also the aspect that there will be some element of centralizing this entire process. Going further, if you look at,
I'll tell you what are the pros and cons both ways. That somewhere this needs to be done because how many times we'll keep on repeating examinations. That if 15 universities conduct it all over the country, somewhere in the students their kind of entrance test is facilitated, and that's a very major plus point. The second thing that I feel is somewhere complexities of each region where the Central University belongs. They have to be taken into account. Some are Hindi speaking universities, some are English speaking, English medium instruction universities, and those things have to be properly taken into account before setting the question paper. I have one kind of issue with NTA or such kind of tests because I have conducted both ways as Vice Chancellor before. What happens is many times in social sciences and human sciences, aptitude of a person sometimes can be properly judged by more elaborate questions which perhaps are the judgment is subjective, and here the possibility of objective judgment is so quick that you know what is person saying and what candidate knows or who doesn't know. There is also some touch of quiz competition in this because whether how you think, how you differ to think, how you question, that doesn't get tested. Machine tests only the kind of quick knowledge. That's why the question paper has to be set very intelligently, where if there is one right answer, the detractors may be so close to that right answers that it is very difficult to choose what is exact. Okay. And that has to be taken care of by people who intellectually work through this area of setting question papers.
Okay.
Similarly, the kind of entire administration of it, that has to be transparent and also very honest people with integrity that we involve from different universities so that we collectively learn from this work in progress.
Okay.
And 15 should not be just the goal. Subsequently, it should keep on entering and getting more and more number of central universities to facilitate this. But how well it will be done, we'll have to see through the experiment. But I appreciate two of my colleagues, the way they spoke about it. They both are so confident about it, especially Professor Kumar, about the computer and its answers, that I feel delighted.
Okay.
I mean, if this facilitates, it's very good for students.
Okay. But the first aspect of that, Professor Kumar, I'm pretty sure you would want to answer that.
And I would like to add to what Professor has said. Most people, they misunderstand that MCQ type of question paper means it tests only memory. No, there are different kinds of MCQ questions which can test different levels of the intellectual capabilities, cognitive skills of the student. And that is where IITs have perfected, because I come from the IIT system, and for several decades we have perfected in setting the question papers. So there is another greater need of training our teachers on how to set the right kind of question papers, and that is where we are lagging behind, and there is a lot that needs to be done there.
And that is where I would like to bring in Professor Saroj Sharma here on this aspect, on ensuring that the papers, the question papers are also set in the same manner as the technology is being used. Both will have to complement each other. Professor Sharma?
Yes, I have one submission that if we look in a broader perspective, it will reduce the human resource effort. Right? We will have a question bank with us. We will have a panel of experts with us centrally, and it will have a larger horizon of experts there also. When we talk about question paper and question bank, I think the previous speaker, he was also very right in his inhibition that And when we talk about technological subject, the discipline with technology intact or scientific subjects, or when we talk in the area of humanities and other subjects like I belong to teacher education. So in these areas, though MCQ multiple choice questions are also there, and we should also judge the critical thinking ability. So unless we judge a student its ability in critical thinking, I think both the way we will have to sit together and discuss. We should chalk out, as Professor Pujari said, that there is an advisory committee also. I think there must be some kind of discussion over how humanities, because different disciplines have different nature. It is technological advancement. With technological advancement, we have IIT, one example. I agree that with technology we can bring it quality upgradation in this area, but with certain discipline which have specific nature, we should also chalk out that kind of question process, human resources, and also what kind of question paper setting, or we have interview process after that. Even in foreign universities, they have SAT in USVC SAT exam they conduct for that, and in selection of universities this SAT examination is useful, and grading, and also they were. The university I belong, this is Indraprasth University, it conducts different approximately 183 tests in Delhi, and most of the colleges are affiliated to our university. It is a PPP nature university. So we have that kind of experience. We have given grades to different colleges, affiliated colleges, and examinations are conducted by our university. Question papers are given by our university, and we have conducted through technology advances also CET. CET is a long process since last 20 years in our university. So it is a success story, and also JNU was last year, and if this is not a new thing, it is a next advancement of this kind of
it is further enhancing the aspect, but the point, Professor Sharma, you made about the critical thinking aspect. Let me bring in Professor Pujari here on this issue. Professor Pujari, how do you look at this particular aspect, that we also need to go ahead and evaluate the critical thinking aspect, and can that be done via the use of technology, as the NTA is all set to do?
No, I would like to see, as I told you, that as far as the conduct of examination is concerned, I understand NTA's role, but what other members are saying about this, that I give you an example, that last 5 years the CUCET is going on, 15 universities, 500 programs, but in 6 sittings of papers we are conducting, we do not have 500 programs for every program, one paper. We understand what are the requirements of the students, and we bunch different subjects offered by different universities and come together, and then we write one central paper for a group of programs. So all those things, all the intellectual exercise have been already gone through in last 5 years, to see that a sociology paper of Central University Kerala, a social work paper of Central University Rajasthan, some other paper of this, what exactly is the test that we will be doing. We bunch them together, and we only write 100, students are supposed to write only 116 papers for 565 programs in 6 sittings, in such a way that no student has a conflict of interest, but still everything is evaluated properly. And then it has been an MCQ, it is a centralized one. A student writes just one exam for 15 universities. It is not multiple exam is written. And I can tell you that the amount of exercise that we have been doing with the teachers of all 15 universities to see that what is the best way of setting the question paper, we have reached a level of maturity in which actually we do an MCQ based question, but we evaluate, and you can see the kind of quality of students that you get in all the 15 central universities. We started with 9 universities. Looking at the kind of popularity, we have today have other universities join, and 15, and maybe tomorrow some more universities will join. So question paper setting part and deciding what kind of questions for which course, which question, all these we have already gone through for last 5 years, and we'll be continuing that, and we'll be also taking advice from all those expertise, and we have familiarity with different kind of IIT system, GATE system,
and all
those.
Professor Pujari, we're running a little short of time, but let me bring in, one more aspect here and quickly with Professor Jagadesh and all of you as well. All of you saying that we have acquired this expertise over the years of trying to, of setting different kind of question papers and ensuring that they do adhere to the guideline and also, give us desired results in terms of evaluation. But with the use of technology as well, now that we're making this move, my question is, can this be expanded further? We are right now only talking about central universities. Can we go ahead and bring the other larger, chunk of state universities and other higher education institutes in the long run maybe? Can we think about it?
In long run, initially the computer-based test may appear to be expensive. But in long run, as the software that is used to conduct these exams becomes cheaper and the computers are available easily, the cost of conducting exams using computer-based tests will actually come down. And also there is a kind of standardization as the exams evolve, as we gain more experience. And another biggest advantage with the computer-based tests is, some of the academicians may think that it is difficult to test the critical thinking based on computer-based test. But I partially disagree with that, because when you say critical thinking, it is the ability to make a decision by using information that you gain from different sources. These kind of questions can actually be designed in a computer-based test. So therefore, a computer-based test can be very, very comprehensive, and as the exams become more standardized and as the cost of conducting these exams come down, I am sure the stakeholders will see the benefits and they will be motivated to adopt this.
Okay.
I have
Professor Harsh.
2 points to make. One is, when you are doing it, actually initially it should be confined to central universities, and then within central universities also a differentiated view of central universities have to be taken. JNU and Hyderabad are in the front line, but all universities are not JNU and Hyderabad. There are various kinds of central universities, and you have to take a differentiated view of all central universities to make tests much more exacting. The second part, which Professor Kumar was talking about, critical learning and critical thinking and critical understanding also has to be a proper component, and how well we can evolve this mechanism. I think different intellectuals in education has to have to work on it, so that right kind of questions are raised there, because it is going to be objective and we are going to save the time and also make it easy for students who are going to appear. The state universities can come at a later stage at any point. Let this particular experiment be consolidated, strengthened, and also central universities have one more responsibility. In a globalizing world, you have to also attract students from neighboring South Asian countries or Southeast Asian countries, and simultaneously perhaps you have to kind of design tests which are also good for African, Southeast Asian and other students, and simultaneously you have to design your syllabuses which cater to many parts of the world. Otherwise it won't work.
So we'll have to take it one by one. Professor Saroj, quickly your views on that. How can we go ahead and expand the scope, or should we first wait for the results of this particular experiment?
As I said, it is a welcome step, and it has been a success story in previous years also. It's not a new thing. I think it is an advanced step of this initiative. I think we will have to develop a module where, as we teach in classroom in a blended way, blended learning is a new area, and in the same way, why not blended kind of question paper should be developed? We can develop certain modules of question paper where, whereas critical thinking, as I said, the way the student can think and write, these kind of aspects should be there. And no doubt computer will be the major device, computers will be major device to judge the multiple choice questions, and also the managerial skills, various case studies will be there. I totally agree that it is an advanced step of taking examination, and expansion is needed in state universities should also be involved, and different grades should also be given to different universities, and a pattern should be evolved. But as I said, there is always a chance of betterment, and I think, and I am very hopeful that certain modules will be developed and it will be a success story again.
Professor Pujari, your concluding comments on the show.
First point is that CUCET is not restricted only to central universities. we have state universities also participating in CUCT for last 3 years. Second point is that the proctored exam with the technology will proceed further to go through the multiple sessions of exam. Today proctored exam means only one time a student has to come from 10 to 11 and come an exam. But tomorrow what is going to happen that the student can write anytime he walks into an examination hall and write the exam and go away. Hence, the multiple question will be drawn with same degree of difficulties, and that is the place we would be interested in using technology.
Okay,
we will have a large scale of questions, and a student can come anytime and write the exam, and the same kind of degree of difficulty, so nobody is in an advantageous or disadvantageous situation in that way.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Pujari and Professor Jagadesh, as well as Professor Harsha and Professor Saroj out there. So as our panelists are pointing out, our academicians, teachers and examiners have worked and perfected the art of going ahead and setting that ideal question paper over the years. But yes, indeed, as in every other sector, as in every other field, a lot needs to be done here as well. And we keep on learning, we keep on building on our capabilities. The use of technology, the question here is further going to strengthen the system. So let's wait and watch how it fares and whether we can expand the scope further. We'll continue this conversation later on, and we'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic and different set of guests. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.